Good afternoon, everybody, residents of Lumia Island and ERCS enthusiasts. I am your host, scaz, and today is another episode of PRO-fessors, where we'll be going, picking the brain of one of the top players in North America, and sort of giving you an idea, some insight into how they approach the game, who they are, and just, seeing a couple of tips here and there. I'm joined today by our guest, Anot. Anot, you there?
Yeah, thanks for having me tonight, scaz.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
My pleasure. So, Anot, who would you say you are well known for? Like, what characters is the Anot brand?
Okay, so definitely back in Season 2, I was a Sissela DP. I had like over 800 games that season.
Oh, gosh.
But sometime in Season 3, I kind of swapped to Eva because I wasn't really finding success on Sissela. And I really just loved her, and I played over 300 games, and she ended up being my most played in Season 3. So I'd say kind of a mix of those two, Sissela and Eva.
So you're more of like a ranged caster type, aficionado, right?
Yeah, I like really ranged characters that are annoying.
I was gonna say, you like playing characters that piss people off.
Yeah.
Well, before we get too deep into ERCS, I actually wanted to ask you a couple of questions. What's your competitive background with video games? Do you come from other games?
I mean, like, I think most people, I played League a lot before. Other than that, I like to play, like, strategy card games. So I played Hearthstone, Magic, Legends of Runeterra. I was never, like, super competitive in those, but I was always, like, high on the leaderboards, I guess, personally.
What drew you towards Eternal Return, though?
So I just saw one day on Twitch, I saw, like, I think, Shifter, I'm a Cutie Pie, just streaming some event. So I just hopped in and I was like, hey, this game looks fun. We were like kind of bored from League. I hit up some of my friends like, hey, download this game. And I just started playing it. And over time, they all kind of slowly quit. But I honestly fell in love with this game. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's cool.
I just thought the premise was really interesting about MOBA Battle Royale. Like, I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's super unique, right? Like, compared to... I've never played a game quite like this before. Like, it's definitely its own thing. But yeah, like, moving... along those lines, you kind of just exploded onto the scene, onto the competitive scene. Just like, I feel like it was like the first time that I really saw you in a tournament. You ended up winning it, right?
Was that the ERFB one? I think that was my first. That was my first big tournament. I've played in a little ones, but yeah, I mean, if you played on the ladder, I think you probably seen me before, but I never really put my name, I guess, in the community in anything like competitive wise before. Like, I was never a top player, or like I still don't think I'm a top player, but I was able to win that tournament, and that was really nice actually. It was, I think it gave me a nice boost in confidence, like you were talking about.
Well, that's cool. Let's go straight back into the deep nitty gritty like side of things. Let's talk about Eva first. We could talk about some Sissela at some point, because you're still playing Sissela, right?
Yeah, I still play Sissela a lot, I think.
Is it still really just Eva and Sissela, or do you have other characters you've been branching out into also?
I've been playing Jenny a bit this past 2
Really?
weeks. Like all my last games have been Jenny. And I'm looking forward to Johan and Bianca when they come out.
Yeah, same. But honestly, both those characters, I really
they look really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go straight into Eva, because Eva's probably what you're best known for. Eva has changed a lot since her release in terms of like nerfs. She's gotten some nerfs, and she's also gotten a couple of nerfs. So those have probably weakened her her play style over time. And I know she moved, like Fireball used to be seen a pretty decent amount, but it feels like everything is just Ruthenium Marble at this point. Can you talk me through Eva itemization?
So yeah, let's start with the weapon real quick. Marble versus Fireball. So Fireball used to give a lot more, like an extra, like I want to say like up to 2 ESD per level.
It's 3.5 actually.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It used to be so much, but then they kept nerfing it, and the item's just so terrible early game. Like the item that you build into Fireball, Autograph Baseball, has higher flat AP than actual Fireball. So it's just so bad early game.
Yeah.
And at the point in which it like becomes actually relevant, Marble basically does the same job, and Marble has heal cut, so you can itemize better in other like like your accessory slot.
Yeah, totally.
And then as for the chest, I mean, there's not much. You just build amp. Honestly, amp and like EOD suit are basically the only other pieces you really need.
So it's really just like a toss-up between Commanders and EOD at this point?
Yeah, Commanders, EOD. New Sunset armor is actually really good.
Really?
Yeah,
so
the
Sunset,
vision range...
For the record, Sunset got a little bit... did a really slight rework in the Season 4 patch. Yeah, so what's up with Sunset in terms of Eva?
Okay, so Eva is a big fan of vision range because all your spells are super long range. So you can think of it like your vision range is your cast range, kind of, you know? Because if you can't see them, you can't damage them. And since you can kind of hit people from so far away, vision range is just super nice. And it also helps in that in this new kind of squishier, high damage meta, just to be able to see people from further away so you can like make more calculated fights, especially since you won't have console nearly as often now, because only one person can have it in its own.
So real quick, you're showing us some builds right now, right?
Yeah, these are my current builds right now. And just on Eva.
Dang, you have a lot of variety in here.
I do have a lot. I've tried to do a lot of experimenting.
I'm seeing, I don't want to cut too far ahead, but I'm seeing a lot of grimoires.
It is.
Builds. That's a lot of grimoires. You don't see a lot of grimoire just in general, but
it is my favorite accessory in this whole game. I think it's really unique. It's a no stat item, and the Primordial Hex is really, really synergistic with Eva and how I think she wants to play. I think it's really strong. I love building it. The slow is super nice. It's on like half my builds.
So yeah. Obviously I'm seeing crown on everything. It looks like a mixture of like crown, drop near, and feather boots, and maybe some straitjackets.
I think, yeah. So the feather boots were there just for the routing sometimes. Crown is probably your best helmet the whole game. Most of the time. It just provides everything you want. Health, defense, and just flat amp. Percent amp. And percent amp, it just works well with Grimoire. So
that's true.
It's just more damage. Drop near is just a really high statted item. Since they nerfed the HP items like Sheath, Burnis Aegis, and since Tindamos banned, CDR doesn't affect half your skills, having the defense from drop near and it has more percent amp is just very valuable.
Yeah, actually, that's something I kind of wanted to touch on. Eva lost the ability to reduce the cooldown of her E relatively recently with that change, because like there was like there's basically,
did you see the Korean build going around?
There was like an evening where I saw this Korean build of people running around with max CDR just dashing like crazy, and it was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel okay. Instantly got nerfed.
I gotta play 2 games of that before it got hotfixed. Yeah, and those were so fun.
Like, I can't even emphasize, this was like less than an evening that this was happening before it got fixed. So yeah, so like at this point, her E is not lowered by cooldown reduction. Her R, I believe, is not lowered by cooldown reduction.
Yeah, it's flat 5 seconds.
Right, and it's just, so then at that point, it's just her W just and her Q.
Yep. That's why you see like rarely any CDR items. I built EOD suit. Sometimes you can go Burgeonet. You go Gumby if you can go it. Sometimes too.
Makes sense.
But other than that, like Queen of Hearts is also good. I think like what I've been telling to people on Eva is that I either want 0% CDR and like full amp, or I want 45% CDR and like a little less amp.
That makes sense.
That's a bit of a coverage.
So it's sort of like, if you can go for the Queen and the Burgeonet and the Gunby or something, then like sure,
go for it. It's better.
But otherwise, just really commit to the burst. Okay, that makes sense. So. But now that there's another layer in the game, so again, for those who are just like showing back up, haven't played a tournament return in the last couple weeks or so, we're in Season 4 and something significant has changed in the game in the past. You already know what I'm going to. The Augment system was added. So Augments add a whole nother layer of sort of customization to your character's builds and stuff. And so what's up with Eva's Augments? What does she run?
So I think there's only 2 viable augments, and there's one like super broken one right now.
Ooh.
The most broken one is going to be Frailty Infliction.
Okay.
It's like Electrocute from League if you played that. And the thing is Eva is that you can proc it basically instantly by using a Q, because your Q1 hits the first stack, your passive Orb is the second one, and then your Q2 proc is the third one.
Interesting.
Top of that with your W and your ult. And then you just get they get the true damage proc, and then their defense is ruined for like the second half of your combo.
Yeah.
It's just insane damage.
That does seem really good.
And then for the second core I think is viable is Vampiric Bloodline. This is another kind of damagey one. It does a lot less damage than Frailty, but it's still nice. And it actually provides Omnivamp, which is pretty good in extended fights, especially since Eva has a VF meter that she needs to care about. So sometimes when you're low on that, you can like still come back. I mean, it's not as good as Frailty, I recently, a high-level Eva player on EU kind of converted me to Frailty, but I think it's still decent. As for the rest of them, she doesn't really care about any of the blue trees. She can't immobilize for Diamond Shard. Oblivion Awake got nerfed and it's like not really good on her. Ironclad's decent, but it's not worth it for the amount of damage that the red tree. And support tree is just, I think it's just worse because all the the two drones, Ava wants to be using her all frequently,
right?
And it's kind of hard to play around the drones. It just it's not worth it, right? It's just not worth your time.
Yeah,
and healing factor, you don't have any.
Yeah, you have no healing, you have no shielding.
So you go Frailty, and then for the sub augments, right now I'm going Dismantle, Quench in my current games. Games are really fast, and Ava doesn't like to build a lot of HP. So I like these high damage ones. I think they just are really suitable for the playstyle. Dismantle obviously just does a lot of damage to the tankier targets. As for Quench, it just really helps for your clear, and probably the more important thing is that when you're taking objectives, which Ava likes to do a lot, you can kind of just face tank them a bit, and you just clear them super fast, and that's just super relevant.
Yeah, Quench.
Spirit Culling.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Quench seems like a really good option for making sure that your objectives are a little bit less risky, especially since, yeah, like you mentioned, Eva wants to be taking objectives, and without it, she's not the best objective taker. She can at least take it from a little bit of a range and kite, so it's not the worst thing in the world. There's a lot of characters that have a much worse wick take.
It's pretty slow, but it's not that bad because the biggest thing with it is that you have to spend a lot of your alt bar.
That's true. Bar. You're vulnerable to third parties.
Yeah. So when someone comes up on you, you're kind of weak. So it's just better to play it safe. A Spirit Culling, you don't really need SP. Only 2 drinks really work. Vengeance, I think Vengeance is actually probably better than either Dismantle or Quench in a more competitive setting. Because there's usually a higher chance you make the final zone.
Right.
But right now, I think it's just since games are a lot more volatile, I think it's just not worth taking it. Because otherwise it'd be a worthless augment for most of the game.
Right.
And I think Stopping Power is just too weak right now. That's about it. I just don't think it does enough.
Yeah, you kind of hard to notice that 3%. But yeah, as far as your sub augments though.
Sub augments? Okay, I like support so far. Thorn Shackle does literally nothing on Ava. The only immobilization
but she's gonna get the knockup, man.
The W knockup. I guess you could also. I heard it procs off traps, so you could maybe go a Thorn Shackle Urban Warfare, trap thing if you want. But I don't do it. I go usually in my game Assembly. I know I talked about how you want to use your alt kind of whenever you want, and that having effects that proc off it are bad. But there's nothing really else in the tree you want. I mean, Urban Warfare, unless you really want to build traps, it's worthless. Logistics is actually good on one Ava build, the tree contest one, because you might not have a lot of food, and if you think someone's going to contest you, it's actually really valuable.
That's interesting.
And the other one I always take is Thea.
Yes.
Never really pronounce it. Because once again, I was talking about Vision Range earlier. It's super relevant on this camp, and I just think it's broken. As for the reason we don't take the blue tree, I just think, one, a lot of these are nerfed, and I think a lot of them don't really play into her strength, but more into her weaknesses. These are all defensives. If someone gets on top of you on Ava, if you can't, guarantee get away by using, a wall or your smoke screen, I want to say, most of the time you're already dead. So, what is, reinforced armor, dull blades, steadfast, they help, or cavalcade. But, they're not gonna, I don't think they do enough. I'd rather play into my character's strength, which is bursting people from range, than just playing more defensive.
Makes sense.
I think that's my core idea.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, cool. This looks good. Do you want to jump into a first game?
Yep.
And while we're in queue, we could talk a little bit more about. Actually, I wanted to switch over to Sissela a little bit. How do you feel about Sissela in the Season 4 patch?
I really don't like where she's at right now.
Really? Because I've heard a lot of people complain.
No, I think, okay, so I'm sorry, I'll phrase that wrong. I think she's really strong, but I don't like her position in the current meta in game. You get what I am saying?
Yeah, so
right now, so Throw is completely dead.
Yeah, so she's powerful, but you don't like her being, let me guess, you don't like her being a Shuriken Burst Mage.
I'm fine with her being a Shuriken Burst Mage, I just don't like the way you have to play it. So let me go into it real quick.
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
So this is the only, in my opinion, the only viable Sissela build there is right now.
I'm seeing a Nightingale and High Priest robes. I'm curious. Tell me more.
Recently, people swapped Nightingale out for Dropnir. I haven't really experimented with it, but ever since Nightingale got changed, I think that's what people have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But this build is a 45% CDR Azure Dagger build.
Mm-hmm.
It has, as you can see, 1 HP item, Nightingale. You're incredibly squishy. You have 40 base defense in all your items, but you have 45% CDR. So how do you want to abuse that? Well, you go to this thing, Vampiric Bloodline. And since this thing allows you can proc it really quick because your Q is going to be on like a 2 to 3 second cooldown most of the time. No. That's unfortunate. But yeah, you proc it really quick and maybe a dodge.
Oh.
And Sissela just has great synergy with Omnisiphon in general. You know, she has a bunch of damage. All her damage is in her skills and caltrops, but it's just really synergistic. But like, this is the only playstyle you can go. You can only go. All these other builds are kind of bad now. Throw is completely dead. I think it's like the worst win rate character in the entire game.
Really? Bad, huh?
It's really bad. Yeah, because I mean, think about it. All the nerfs they made recently.
She did get some pretty significant hits, right?
Yeah, they're all targeted to Shuriken, and Throw never got any like relatively compensation.
Yeah.
So it's just not in a good state. So the build I'm going to be playing today, on this first game at least, it's going to be like this amp one. It's one I found, and it's really strong. It's one of the Grimoire routes. You just get so much percent amp, and then you kind of just one-shot. And I'm going to be running the builds we talked about earlier. Assembly, Thea, Frailty, Quench, just Goliath. Another thing I wanted to bring up real quick, for anyone in chat, if you run Dismantle Goliath, your traps are going to be bugged. So I don't know if you knew about this, scaz, but that's the bug causing the traps to not work. It's Dismantle Goliath. Okay. I just wanted to make that known.
Yeah, I assume that's already known about and being fixed, but I don't know 100% for sure. But yeah, so that routing it's just a 4-zone. It seems pretty fast.
It's a 4-zone, but you need 4 pickaxes and pond.
That looks like pain.
It kind of is. This is why this route is kind of hard, because you need to know how loot distribution works pretty well.
Yeah.
And you need to know the different zones. If you can like... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, this is not me saying like a backseating thing or anything, but I'm curious, because I know you can make holy orders along that route. Is there a reason why you still opt to go for commanders over holy orders? Or not holy orders, the other one.
Sunset?
No, the other one. The mini holy orders. What is that thing called?
Oh, Cardinal
robes, yeah. Is there a reason why you still go for commanders?
Bad.
You think so?
So the thing with Cardinal's bad, and then you want to upgrade Cardinal basically like to a better one, in my opinion. And like the easiest upgrade without building a whole nother item is going to be your myth chest, right? Which means you have to contest that and not use your mytho for something else, like Kandala. So we're just going to do basic looting. Eva has some of the fastest looting in the entire game, so you can abuse that. And I think another important thing with Eva is that you always got to be paying attention to your E cooldown and just be optimizing around it. So you always want to try to be crafting when your E is on cooldown, so you can always use it when it's up.
Makes sense. Quick question while you're looting and all this stuff. What's your skilling order?
It's gonna be Q, E, passive, W, alt whenever you can.
So passive pretty low on the list. Is passive not something you prefer at the moment?
I like the passive. It's just like, I think E is just so much more relevant, especially since, you know, it's like the Eva skill when people think about her a lot of the time.
That's true, yeah.
You know, this little dash. And having it, like, since it doesn't get affected by CDR anymore, getting it to like 5 seconds as fast as you can is like really relevant.
And Q just being sort of your main damage, you want to max that out ASAP. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. We're just keep looting. So we're probably gonna miss a pickaxe. There's like a 30% chance it's in this box. Okay, I'm lucky.
That's unfortunate.
So there's like a pretty high chance that there's one in those 3 boxes over there. We can go check those later. We also missed a flower, which is kind of unfortunate, because I wanted to make health potions, but we should still be fine.
So on average, what kind of pace are you looking for? Are you looking for full build by day 2, or is it like midnight 1?
So on this build, as you can see, I need 3 leather, and unfortunately for us, there's no really available leather in these couple zones. Like the best one are the bears.
It's not empty.
So usually I like to get to temple within like 1 minute, I want to say, or like a little lower than that. Oh, nice. Oh, that's really lucky. And then after that, I like to, I guess it's at just 1 minute. Now this is where the things feel really insane. When you have your ult, you can just like ascend looting. I don't know how to explain it. I guess you just.
Let's see.
So yeah, once you hit level 6, for those who don't know, who don't play Eva or whatever, once you hit level 6, you gain access to sort of this ranged interaction thing. So interacting with containers, stones, branches, basically everything but a console or a teleporter, you can do at a slight range, which is honestly, it's really
so
nice.
It is so nice.
And once you play Eva and you go back to play another character, it's just like, man, I miss that. So for food, you look for garlic ramen?
I usually try to make garlic ramen when I'm in temple, but I like to make health potions when I'm in avenue, like within pawn, and that's usually all the food I need. And then for SP, I think all you need is hot chocolate. Like one single hot chocolate can kind of carry you through the entire game. Just this little one, because you don't really use that much SP, because you have a lot of SP regen, just your straight jackets.
That makes sense.
So this game, since I kind of got online a little quicker, I might be going for the meteorite in factory.
Oh, well,
to try to get myself a commander.
That's a very good. Oh,
just gonna walk past that guy. I don't know. I usually don't kill people when they don't have items. You know.
Plus one. Good work, soldier. So I was gonna say, that's a good transition point. What do you do about RNG items? Do you prioritize any objectives? What's like the first objective that you cannot miss?
You can't. It's rough. Okay, so I like to go to the second tree every game.
Okay.
And then depending on how just like strong I am, I like to go to alpha if I can get there, because I like to upgrade my grimoire into a Kandala. I think it's very strong. It's like one of Eva's strongest items. Other than that, I mean, you can kind of use Eva's like very flexible items. You can use Fourscore for auto arms, Halo, Hermes. You used to go Emerald Tablet. Oh, I'm just gonna bully this guy. He didn't stand a chance.
Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah, so his big mistake there was walking into here. I mean, he can't do anything about that. I can just like range him out.
Hate doing this.
And it's just, I mean, yeah,
so,
not much he can do there.
I know you're not much of a Yan player, but if you were Yan in that situation, what should he have done?
He should have been either, depending if he was feeling confident enough, just straight on gone on me, or just walked away. And just, once he got chunked out to 40% HP, basically, with my combo, he doesn't really stand a chance of winning. So maybe he could have reacted more when I showed up. I mean, I think I had Thea, so I was able to see him before he was able to see me.
That's a good point.
Which is, once again, a strong strength.
Yeah, that is one heck of an augment right there. Like, oh my god, that damage.
Yeah, it's literally so insane right now. I don't think this character's fair in their current state.
You're supposed to downplay your main, bro. You're supposed to say, oh, my main is bad.
Oh, I missed my Q there.
I'll take my chances.
Oh no. Not a wall. Poor Yuki.
Poor Yuki.
A new area has been
I think he's dead in my next W rotation. Shit, it's like bigger. He dies to Grimoire. Yep.
Oh, Grimoire actually does a pretty significant amount of damage.
Yeah, it does. Right now it's doing 240.
That's crazy.
It is so crazy because she just has so much damage from so far range right now. It's just not. It's not fair. I don't know how to put it. It's just not fair.
Oh my gosh. This is kind of disgusting, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This is kind of gross to watch. Although I'm enjoying it. Oh?
Yeah.
Someone is consecutively
I get fish and chips now too.
And mithril string. Yeah, traps.
Well, I opened my shop there.
I hate it when I do that. And it's like, and you like struggle to close it. It's unfortunate.
I'm just a little nervous. But
I wonder what happened to the residents.
whatever, I'll just let him go. So right now I'm looking to probably go to this next tree in either forest or hospital.
Feels
Depending on what.
weird keeping like this.
This guy. I think I'm gonna go to the hospital tree and just try to get my glacial shoes on.
Okay.
I think that's fair. I think glacial shoes is better than Scotty right now because I think Dropnir and Grimoire is just too synergistic. But Scotty is also really strong. I don't think it's
Sorry.
bad. I could also go Scotty and just try to kill this guy and steal his glacials. I think that's also.
The Aya is the objective now.
I was thinking about it. I'm not sure. So we're just gonna clear the mobs and then just set up for it. Someone just stole that dog, yeah.
Ready. Swing!
Oh shit.
I'll show you the best.
You know,
Sorry.
respect to that guy for the turn. That was almost.
Yeah, that was really unexpected.
Yeah, that was pretty hype. Because honestly, if he had just tried to run, he probably would have died. I don't see how William.
Yeah, he would have died. He would have died.
William doesn't
But,
outrun Eva in this.
Unless he had
situation.
like, I guess his only could have played with like a fireball somewhere, like maybe over.
That's true.
Not this one.
That's true.
Oh, there's someone coming. So I see someone here. I saw a ping. Maybe someone TP'd in. I'm just gonna put some strings here, in case they want to come in. I get some nice vision of them, without having to use a cam because I don't have any cams.
So that's
Someone just
actually,
took the console.
that's actually something I was going to mention. How important? Oh, never mind. I'll let you focus. The objective. Oh, the Grimoire.
The Grimoire. Yeah, and I can steal her glacials now and go for Scotty. So.
How could I forget the Grimoire?
I can't get used to seeing this. I hate doing this.
I'm telling you, Scaz, this is it's not fair.
It's looking pretty gross. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is pretty disgusting. Oh shoot! The tree farmer's here to collect your tree. Oh no, he's not.
Yeah, he's gonna try. That doesn't hit.
Already hurt. Can I heal this?
Oh, that's better. I think Grimoire probably got him. He has like a little bit more movement speed than me. Oh, he dies there.
Wow, that was beautiful.
I don't really care about it. Can I still even? Yeah, I can still go Scotty. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of just what you do. You just run at people and then they just die when you like full rotation them when you get ahead.
So it's just basically what you're saying is this character just wants to get ahead and then stay ahead because what do you do if you're behind?
If you're behind, you just farm and then just try to like hit RNG drops like most characters do when they're behind, I think. I guess that's kind of it. You don't really.
Better than nothing.
You don't really like see. Look how many items I'm on though, right? I'm only on 2 RNG items, and Commander Cabana is only I think a 2% skill amp upgrade over Commanders, right?
I think it's mainly on the defense that
it's the defense one. Yeah, you're right on that. But the damage, right? I'm still doing the same thing. Obviously, I have insane weapon mastery
totally.
right now, but it's not that. I think I'm gonna go. I want to build a Scotty, so I need to go. I think. Oh, what's up? Just trying to bait out his tornado here. I think she's gonna steal my kill. Nice.
Jeez.
Oh, there's just one player left. I mean, if this means anything, Fiora is a pretty bad matchup. But it still should be fine.
But if
She
you're
just got
upset
Omega.
and you
So
should
she's
be
in.
okay.
She's in alley right now because she just took Omega. So I don't know if she's going for her headpiece or something else, but she should be here.
Oh.
But anyway, I'm just gonna look for a bracelet because I'm just kind of. I don't know. I should do this. Also, I think cams are super relevant on this character. If you can keep getting cams.
I hope it's not empty.
Vision, like I said, vision is super important. I don't know. I didn't expect this first lobby to go like this, I'll be honest. So, and also, it's a good example of why I don't take vengeance, right? Because it's day 3 and there's 2 people left.
Right. I mean, what you said earlier totally makes sense to me. Like, outside of tournament lobbies, you don't see games go to final zone where it's like really that important all that often, and getting that advantage off of the rest of the game, having another ability or another augment for the rest of the game seems a little bit more valuable. But in a tournament setting, I definitely see Vengeance being
hard to walk
really
on the
good.
sand?
And the reason I'm not clearing the bears, by the way, is it's just because I'm kind of lazy at this point in the game. I think probably you should clear them. I don't know. I think it's just trying to get to Wick is the next big thing.
That makes sense.
But you should be probably clearing these bears just for mastery, but I don't think you need to. And also keep in mind, if you're on Eva, I've seen a lot of people do this, it's okay to use your ult on animals. Because you can see I just gained back like 30% of my VF bar just on this bar alone. So I've seen a lot of new Eva players just save their ult. It's what I did when I first started. But yeah, you can definitely use it. So Wick line is up, and she's probably going to walk Forest, I want to say like most of the times in these games. So we just can kind of set up for her.
So something that Eva can do that probably I would guess most... Oh, actually, here's the final fight.
A new area.
So she's on the bat. That's gonna... Yes.
You asked for this.
I missed that one.
This might hurt.
Oh shit. Oh, Shiba. I ran out of thing there. She's gonna maybe try to let you off this bat. See, this is like Eva's biggest weakness is when you're low on VF like this. She should be dead. Yeah.
Nice.
That was a little scary. Fiora is a really bad Eva matchup. Because any character that can stick on you like multiple times, like Fiora can rapier skill E when you dash away, and then E again. So it's just really terrifying, especially when you don't have a strong wall. But I managed to. I was just so far ahead, and smokescreen is just so powerful if you use it properly.
Nice first game.
Yeah, that was nice.
Pretty,
Should I just hop
pretty
into
solid.
another one?
Yeah, pretty solid A-bomb. Yeah, feel free to go again.
Okay.
So I want to throw some questions your way. So basically, what I was saying right before that last fight was a thing that a lot of new Eva players probably struggle with is knowing how to use the E to cancel your ultimate to reactivate your ultimate. Do you want to talk more on that? Because I saw you doing it a lot there. Obviously, that feels like something that you need to know how to do as a better and better Eva.
Yeah, you're right. Because if you're against more competent players, they'll know that if you cancel your ultimate, like with just by walking out of it and not Eing, that you're pretty vulnerable and like they might be able to gauge on you or be more aggressive. It's just something that I think really just comes with kind of just time and playing, like practice. It's not that hard. You just have to always pay attention to your E, I guess. You just use it whenever someone gets out the range, or if you want to like, you can start with your ult and E away. I don't know. I really just don't know how to explain it other than
it's just
you just get a feel.
Okay.
It's just a feel for it when you just learn like
practice.
Oh, I can just like keep my ult up for 2 seconds to cancel with my E, and it's better than just canceling my ult and walking, even though like they might not be in range.
So in
you know
general,
what I'm saying with that?
Yeah. So in general, you don't hold your ultimate on people for too long, right? Like you don't commit. You rarely ever just press an R and watch that bar drain down, right?
Yeah, it's not often. You only like to do it honestly when they're in your W. Because then they're slowed and they kind of like they take the bonus amplified damage. I don't know if you I'm sure you know how Eva W works, but people in it take bonus amplified damage from your skills.
I do, but the people at home may not.
They may not, yeah. So if you just want to just usually use it in your W, because it's harder for them to even get on top of you because you're immobilized. And then once they do try to get on top of you with a dash, you can E away. And then like maybe smoke screen on top of you, auto them, or do something.
So we have some questions from oh, what's up?
No, nothing. I was just talking about I'm gonna go this build this game. I think these are the 2 best Eva builds, but I'm gonna go this one because there's 2 people's school and that's a very volatile zone for this build. It
looks
really
like looks like a pretty contested set of routes. So we've asked chat we've asked chat for some questions for you. So here's some questions from the audience. Some of these are sort of more general not necessarily Eva or Sissela based, so feel free to answer it to the best of your ability. Someone asks, what items should we craft after finishing our build for each general class? Example, caster, tank, etc. If you want to just roll that into, how would you do late game itemization, RNG, stuff like that?
Okay.
Feel free.
Okay, so for most mages, I can say that you usually want the double glacial items. I think they make all great use of them. There are probably some rare exceptions, so Scotty and glacial shoes are something you should be looking for. Same with then like Cabana, Holy Orders, Queen of Hearts. They're also all probably really strong on all mage characters in some aspect. As for other ones, I guess most auto attacker, basically every character in this game can use auto arms, I feel. So if you ever find an auto arms, you can probably just put it on, and it's usually going to be better than most of your items, I feel.
I'd say the only exception would really be like some really attack speed focused characters might prefer a radar or a Q botch.
Like a radar or something.
Like I know if I'm on 11, I will take a Q botch over auto arms every day.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And some mages still prefer Scotty over auto arms. But
Yep.
Definitely, yeah, auto arms is a really general good thing that everyone can slam. Also, like Mithril.
Mithril, yeah. If you just find Mithril and like you can just put it on, and it's probably gonna be fine. Mithril's just really strong.
The same.
I think Myth Quiver is actually really good on Eva too, but I don't really go with that often. Yeah, I think the attack speed is.
Yeah. So do you find yourself autoing that often?
Not that often. Probably it's not as much as I should be. Ever since they updated her to give it so your E applies to BF. Also, I should be pathing this way. This is what I was talking about, how knowing pond. I saw a Magnus spawn up here. I saw a ping over here and a ping over here. So I know that these zones are probably looted. But I don't know if this longer spawn is going to be looted. So if I need to hit like most of my items, I feel like more confidently I can go to the bridge
usable at least.
and just get it. So
I can see my face.
Okay.
as for going back
ahead.
to the other question about more general items, I think Mithril's really strong. Same thing as just like most 4-score weapons. If your character has like a 4-score weapon that you can build, that's probably decent.
More familiar.
I think a lot of the time.
So actually,
But I'm not sure.
that brings me to a very good, smooth transition. How do you feel about the Force-core throw weapon?
It's only good on Adriana.
Whoa! Not even William. I guess no. Even William prefers.
No,
Anti.
William wants the
Yeah. It's only on Adriana. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I wish they would add the amp one, but obviously, I really wish they would add the amp one.
Yeah.
But
That's fine. Ruthenium is our RNG.
okay, so technically, I will say it is like best in slot whenever you're trying to auto someone. Do you get what I'm
So
saying?
you're saying you should switch between them frequently.
Yeah,
If you're leaving it in auto, it's hot swap.
Yeah, you could use it. I'm not gonna go in there even though I have the orchids, just for time efficiency. I just want to still try to hit a pickaxe over here and get a good temple. This is kind of a slow one because I realized that pawn become a second slate.
But yeah, so
Eva, since I was talking about like Eva's the fastest looter in the game, in my opinion. So you want to make like really strong use of that, and you can have like really efficient routes. Like I can have this kind of greedy route, which wants a lot of pickaxes, but I can make up with it for the fact that I can loot really fast, and that I just have a really strong dash to get me over a lot of
Better than nothing. I don't really know about this.
so I have another question. If you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are traps worth building and using as non-ISIL characters? I don't see them being used often, but the new augments seem to encourage them.
So funny you say that. I was talking about it earlier. Wait, did I? Okay, but the rank 1 Eva player, Trick is his name. He actually is a big trap advocate. He loves building like double guillotines. Just because what double guillotines do is that they, I was talking about Eva's bad matchups or characters that can get on her and then stick on her.
Right.
Well, if I place a double guillotine down, you can't do that. So it really helps shore up the bad matchups, while really not like. Obviously, the downside is that you have to build traps. It takes a lot of time.
It does, yeah.
You have to you spend different mastery because obviously it's a mastery system. So instead of crafting health, SP, or like weapon mastery, you're getting trap mastery, which, I mean, it really depends on how you want to spend it. I think they're good. Another problem is that they're only kind of really good final zone. They're kind of like whatever elsewhere. Other characters that might build traps, for example, the one of the top barbers in a Dark Genix. He loves building double guillotines. It's kind of like a joke around him.
I was gonna say that is probably at this point, if anyone thinks of like who's a non-ISO that builds traps, it's probably Dark Genix with its double guillotines on Barbara.
He loves it. Barbara really powerful with it. Any character that just wants to like win, I guess, final zone, who has like struggle, like area control type characters can build it. I think you, actually, I think this might gonna be my take. Any character can build traps. It's just like it's not always worth it because you could be spending your time doing other things that play better into your character's strength.
That's a good way of putting it. So basically, traps are good for shoring up your character's weaknesses. If you feel like you're very vulnerable to getting, you know, jumped on, you need something that's going to help you space better. Maybe traps are a good solution for you.
Won't be in vain.
So actually, I wanted to ask a little bit of a question too, because this is another part of Eva's kit. I want to just like slowly dissect every aspect of Eva's kit and get your thoughts on it. How often are you purposefully using your E micro silence to interrupt things? Do you even think about it?
No, you have. Yeah, it's very matchup specific. Some examples are Aya. She has 2 channels in her W and her ult, both cancelable. Another very relevant one is, you will probably know this, 11 is one of like the easiest matchups.
It drives me
because
crazy.
you can literally cancel every one of her abilities.
Yes.
So that's just super broken. You want to remember that. Nikki Q is some strong ones.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I hadn't really thought of that one actually.
The Nikki matchup's really interesting because you can E like both of her, like all her abilities, the unstoppable, and you can also just silence her Q when she's trying to chase you or when you're trying to chase her. Which is nice.
So this looks like a really strong start for you so far. You've gotten your Meteorite for your Cabana, you've gotten your first Mithril. Does your first Meteor go always to Cabana, or do you prefer to make the Kundala?
I think I like... Hold up.
Oh.
I'm gonna try to burst this guy when he goes for...
What are you looking at?
Nice shoot.
Yeah.
That was disgusting. that was pretty vile.
I don't know how many times I have to tell you this, scaz, but this character is not fair right now.
It's pretty gross, bro.
She was pretty underleveled than me.
That's fair.
I had like more RNG, and I think she's on a bad Jenny build, but I don't know. It's just so much damage. Also, so right now I think I'm gonna go for the hospital tree again. When I actually go for the hospital tree, I like to play through Pond more than Hospital on this character. And actually for all characters, I like to play more through the Pond side than the Hospital side. Because if you need to run, I have so many more places I can run through in Pond other than Hospital, in which I have to funnel through these like little narrow corridors.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Oh my god, another Jenny.
Yeah, I don't get these EB Jenny builds.
I'm not really used to seeing anything other than Stampede.
F1.
Yeah.
So in that fight, I actually did a mistake that I make kind of often, is that I press my ult in the middle of my combo.
Oh.
If I'll try to like demonstrate. So let me do show it on this board, right? So you can W and then you try to press Q, but then you press ult, and then I don't know how to explain it. But as you see in the last fight, my ult went on cooldown, but it's because I canceled it immediately with my Q, like that.
Oh.
Because I pressed them slightly in the wrong order. So that's something you gotta watch out for.
I mean, that's a good point. Do you generally have a flowchart for your standard combo?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me show you on the next animal I see. I guess I can just shoot it on this Lennox. This is down.
Use my powers.
I don't know if I can kill him here, but I messed up. I should have been hitting him with the first ult, but against Lennox, you kind of just have to space around the whip, and then I think the matchup's super free.
A new area has been restricted.
It's like right over here.
A subject has been terminated.
This
Subject has been terminated.
Oh no. Oh no. That poor guy.
Poor dude.
I hate doing this, but it
Oh, there's a
must be done.
Stampede.
Yeah. So okay, I can just shoot out a basic combo. Maybe this boar. Yeah. So normally what you want to do is that you have two kind of combos. One, you start with your Q, W, Q activation, Alt, E, and then that's it.
Okay.
Right? Pretty simple. Oh, shit. Okay, he's just gonna... Wait, he got the tree. Let's go forest. The second combo is you just start with your W instead of your Q to get the slow on them and the passive proc. It's a lot easier, but it's a shorter range than starting with your Q because that implies that you have to see them with your W.
Small critters.
So I'm gonna brush tuck this, and then I'm just gonna go for this tree. I think someone's in this building. I think that might be a fight. Oh shoot!
Uh-oh.
I think they might forget about me.
A subject has been terminated.
I think the Linux is up there, so I should be fine. Just to get my cons. Oh wait, someone's taking the tree. Shoot. Oh my god, the boar.
Oh no, not the boar.
It's fine. Glacials are just a nice quality of life upgrade. I wouldn't say they're like essential. There's a Bernice over here. I should be getting my... Another mistake I made is I should be getting my... oh, so this is the bug going on right now. I don't know if you saw that.
I could hear you mashing a keyboard and
you could hear me
not
mashing
moving.
my E,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. Yeah. I don't know what's causing it, but sometimes when you alt,
You just
E
get
just,
locked in.
it just gets locked in.
That's unfortunate.
It's a bit annoying, but... Oh well. So I guess in this game then, we can go for taproots with our boot slot upgrade.
Well, technically, you could always go for the
I
objective.
don't really know about this.
Yeah.
Because those glacial
I could
shoes
also-
did get made.
Oh yeah, that objective. And here we see the rare Deadly Ray Bernice build. In my game. He's trying something.
Look.
Was it always this
Look.
hard to walk on?
It's gold. It's
gooder.
the meta's never gonna evolve until somebody is willing to try these things, man. Put some respect on Deadly Ray Bernice's name.
A subject has been terminated. Someone is consecutively eliminating survivors. 5 survivors.
This is no shade
I'll
towards Deadly
just
Ray
let him go.
Bernice.
I can't get used to seeing this.
So I want to do a Mega Alpha, or is this a Mega, right? I want to do a Mega right now, but I don't really have anything I want to go for. I guess I could just do it for the fun of it. And actually I'm going to do this. Because I want to just teleport to Wick right after.
I'm sorry. I must.
So I'm just going to burn some timer. Because since the new timer change, you actually have a lot of timer to spend. It's really nice.
Okay, so I have a very important question that I just thought of. What is the tier list? English Eva versus Japanese Eva versus Korean Eva.
Okay, I will. I don't listen. Okay, so the other Evas have really. I don't want to say they have moans when you dash, and I don't like it.
I see.
That's just how I put it.
Okay.
I guess if you're like that,
Okay.
just play one of the other ones. But
Fair.
I just like your Korean voice line. I actually like English voice lines. I know a lot of people don't in this game, but I like them.
That's-
I just keep.
Valid, yeah, no, that's super valid.
So Wick is spawning soon. So I'm just gonna try to just do Wick. I don't know if anyone else will be here. I hope not. But we should be fine.
A new area has been restricted.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, do that. That's someone else. That's Devin. I don't really care. Oh god. Faker. What are you doing, bro?
He's looting. Ah. Yeah,
That was close. Oh my, that was closer than.
yeah, shout out Devin.
Yeah, shout out Devin. Real agent. Thanks.
Thanks for the glacial delivery. We'll be getting you your PayPal pretty soon. Don't worry.
I made this?
I don't even know what I want to do. Normally
Where do
on
we all go?
when I get a VF, I like to go Gumby. Oh sh! What the hell?
Over there. How?
I'm probably dead.
Nah. You got schmoobin'. You're fine.
All right, let's get out of here.
It's that's a hunting method.
See,
Has been terminated.
So
apart.
that's a very Nadine specific thing you need to do. Is that in the Nadine matchup, she can't just monkey wire on you like that, because I can smoke screen, and I mean she's kind of like her whole kit's used.
totally.
Right?
No, totally.
It'll be
So
over quickly.
that's something the Nadine player needed to do there differently. It's just bait out my smoke screen or just keep harassing. There's so many. You guys never learn.
Nope. No, everyone is like slowly trickling in and taking console and saying there's a fight happening here and going to third party. It's not working out.
Daniel's a kind of a scary matchup.
I was gonna
but
say,
it should,
Daniel seems like a really scary matchup.
Must be
it should be fine. I haven't really had much practice against Daniel. It's really kind of only RJ and Striker, I think, when they played them.
So, what are you using your force core for right now?
The looks, I guess. I don't. If I wanted, oh, I guess I could. You're right.
Yeah.
I could be making
You could.
remote mines,
you could
but
be
I have
making-
dismantled the
Used to walk
Goliath,
on the
so
road
they're
like
going to be
this with you
bugged and they
when I
won't
was
work.
young.
Oh, okay.
But I guess I can just still build it,
Sounds good.
just to scare the guy. Maybe
Yeah, I mean, you could even feed.
I could give him them.
Yeah, no, I was
because-
gonna say that as a joke, and I was like, I probably shouldn't say that
Right. It's a closer
as,
fight.
as a joke.
But normally for score you want auto arms, Hermes, or Halo, or even Holy Orders is good now.
Really?
Since they, yeah, since they removed like HP, if you can compensate with enough defense and other items, Holy Orders is really strong.
Yeah, because I know.
But you need to. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I know it got changed with all the HP items getting.
Yeah,
changed.
you need defense. Yeah, you need to have. I want to say like over 100 defense every time I want to go Holy Orders. But like, look at it. Like my best in slot arm, no HP. Best in slot boots, no HP. I mean, no defense. They're all HP items, so you don't really find yourself going it that often. It's more of like a weird game where you're just full of mithril that you want Holy Orders.
Weird.
I could also
looking
making
at
Queen of
this.
Hearts. I do think Queen of Hearts is really strong.
Mhm.
Just as it gives 30% CDR.
Better than
It's just
nothing.
massive.
I know it seems like hard to. It feels unfair to compare them directly, but Queen versus Cabana, you'd prefer Queen in general.
I must.
Yeah, I'd say, but I don't really go out of my way to build it. I don't know. Also, I'm just gonna place like 20 cameras on this guy.
Also, just a quick reminder to the chat before this game ends. We are answering questions that you ask here live on stream, so feel free to click the link that Nightbot's been posting. Ask Anot your questions, and there's a good chance it might make it into this broadcast.
So I don't know if you saw what I did there exactly, but I used my E up against this wall.
Yeah, I saw
just
that.
for the vision range in hand, so I could see him in the brush.
Interesting.
Because since I have Cabana +1 vision range, you can just use your E kind of like creatively like
The
that.
temporary
to
safe
create
zone will
these.
be designated soon.
This might hurt.
Go.
I mean, I can just walk at this guy. Just keep forcing him into red.
I always imagined living in a forest.
So the game plan here is just to kite him out, right? Never let him get
Yeah,
close.
I'm pretty sure. I think he's dead.
Tilt
Oh my. Don't look.
That was you were eating into the wall to get vision range.
Yeah.
Sorry. I must.
It was tactical.
Yeah. Don't look. This is where the remote mine scare comes in.
I hope nobody steps on it.
I don't know. This guy's gonna have a really rough time because I can just play spacing on him and just kind of back the useless timer. So it's gonna be really hard for him to play Final Zone. I also need to be using my Kandala procs a bit more.
These may be useful.
Tools. My next piece is decided.
Famous. Yeah, he can't win now.
A subject has
GG.
been terminated.
2 in a row.
Jeez,
8 bomb
yeah.
into a 7 bomb. Not bad. Not bad.
Drake.
I've overcome again.
Okay, so got a couple more questions while we're in this queue. questions from the chat. Gonna kind of rapid fire these a little bit. Also, by the way, I think this next game is going to be our last game. So, if
should I play Sissela?
I was going to say, if you would like to play Sissela, now would be the time.
All right.
So, speaking of Sissela, we have some questions about Sissela. Question number 1: any misconceptions about Sissela?
Misconceptions.
Is there anything that you hear a lot about Sissela that you feel is a misconception?
I wouldn't say misconception. I just think a lot of it is just previous hate that people have. I don't know. She's really strong. She's really toxic to play against when she's strong. I don't know. People just hate the character, I guess, at all points of the game.
Makes sense.
They're always going to complain. You know, your Q is on a 2-second cooldown. Your E is on like so fast now. Your W is a walking Zhonya's that does damage and knocks me back. I mean, it's all fair, I guess, but I wouldn't say there's much misconceptions.
Another question from Twitch chat is, how do I beat Sissela? Following that other one makes a lot of sense. How do I beat Sissela?
I don't want to say third party her,
but that's kind of true.
That is by far when she's at her weakest is third partying. She is like the apex character in 1v1s in this game. I'll say it. She is like, you can just beat any character in a 1v1, it feels like. But that's because you have to use like all your skills pretty well, and it just puts you at so weakness. Like, I mean, I won't say I'm kind of known for getting third party, but I have complained a lot about
it's every Sissela player complains a lot about
every Sissela
third
player.
party.
Just you get third party. It is your biggest weakness. Other than that, in the current meta, getting close to her, abusing night vision is a really good one, or just abusing corner vision to get right on top of her without having to expend any movement is really strong.
Okay.
Other than that, and just like defensive, like skill amp itemization, I don't know.
The rest of it kind of just comes down to character by character.
Yeah,
things. And we can't cover everybody's matchup right now. But yeah.
Also, I'll just say items and by using corners really well. Wraith Kara, I don't know if you ever watch him play, but he always likes to hide like these little like I can't see right here, right? So he'll like hide right there.
Right.
Like when I walk past, he jumps on you.
Yeah. So basically,
like
play vision as best possible.
Yeah. Or just be better, because sometimes if you can outplay the player, you can just win. That's about it.
So I also have a lot of questions in here are about duos and squads. Do you play much duos and squads?
I have recently, I don't know if you can tell by my name by any chance, but I've recently started playing duos.
I see. I can't imagine who your duos partner is based on your name.
What is this guy doing?
He's having fun.
Yeah, but I've been recently playing a lot of duos recently and some squads too. So
okay, so you can answer some of these questions though.
Yeah.
So in duos and squads, when should you meet up with your teammates?
Depends on what kind of environment you're playing in. I think a lot of times in like just regular normal duos, you can meet up with your teammate. You usually want to say like beginning or to middle of night one. Is usually when most people get their builds online anyway.
I'd agree with that.
And I think that's optimally when you just want to try to meet up. But in a more competitive environment where you can be sharing items with your teammate to get your builds online faster, I want to say like maybe end of day one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's you're probably better actually at answering this than me.
I can't answer it because I'm not the professor.
I would probably say end of day one for competitive.
Shoot for third zone. All right.
Shoot for third zone.
Yeah. Third zone is like that's like an easy heuristic. Just like try to get your team to meet up at your third zone. So sorry, another team modes question. Should you always try to revive a teammate? If not, when is it not worth it?
Well, obviously you shouldn't always, I guess, like immediately revive. A lot of players like know if a teammate's nearby, if you showed yourself, or just something else. So like you could just be killing yourself too, going for the revive. I think it's usually worth it to wait a bit. Unless you mean like the revive station, I guess. Players like to put cameras. Okay, the players like to put cameras at those too. And they're also heavily conducted because people want to get their own teammate revives off. I should be...
This looks more like something
this is... I'm not getting treated this game.
Also, Dexy in chat said, "Hey Anot, Devin said to tell you he won that fight if Lennox wasn't bad."
Lennox players, man, they're so copium. Dude, did you see Waterfudge won like 10 games in a row with Lennox? Brandon was like rank 1. Your character is so broken, XC.
Something I can use.
Whatever.
Lennox players, am I right, guys?
I swear to God, man, they're on something else.
I'm just kidding. Alright, so...
She needs RNG items, whatever.
What will it be?
Okay, more questions. Why should one invest into Eva / Sissela versus other
I did my
options?
best.
I can just go
A
kill this
subject
guy.
has been terminated.
Oh, hold up. I'm
No
gonna force him
background.
to...
Teach
Yeah,
them a lesson.
they're just strong. I don't know. I don't think that you should ever like put more time in the character. Just pick a character you have fun with. I guess that's it. Unless you really want to play what's the best. I think they're both rewarding.
I did my best.
Hold up, there's a yawn
They're
fight.
all freed from
Oh,
pain.
he killed them already.
Teach
I'm
them
stupid.
a lesson.
Oh, he messed up. Oh, I'm dead. What the? Dude, where are they?
They're multiplying.
Teach them
Yeah.
a lesson.
Where is
Will
it?
not
Is it safe?
use.
Oh, that was a nice escape.
Why? There were like 4 yawns in this lobby. What the hell?
Someone
And
asked...
they're all on the same build.
Someone asked best augments for Eva. We covered that earlier. I would highly recommend checking out the VOD. He went super in-depth into Eva augments. You should check that out. Someone from chat also asks, what do you...
A subject has been
Oh, no.
terminated.
I just want a moment. Give me a break.
Asks, what do you think is the worst character to go up against as Eva?
A subject
So basically,
has
who's your
been
worst
Um,
matchup?
Honestly, Fiora, TS Yuki. It really depends on the environment you're in. Because if you have good walls,
Will it be?
it really like shapes your matchups. But if you're in like a plain one-on-one, just like arena, no walls, just like an open zone, I want to say Fiora or like Yuki, any character,
This way.
or even like a Chiara. Really, any character that can have multiple ways to get on top of you, are just terrifying.
I still
Because you can
find
only use
myself
one E for
crying
one of them.
sometimes. Useless.
Do I fight this guy?
Death seems like freedom to me.
Oh, go. Nimble Neuron is a hack.
Yo, can't say that.
Oh, I missed my thing. Well, I'm just reading this guy's name.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Do you recommend Eva for a beginner?
Yes. Oh, I'm so bad.
So I actually completely agree with you. Like,
Yeah, she is one of the easiest mages to play at a simple level.
I super agree. Like, that was, I feel like, whenever I get asked, like, yo, characters for new players, I'm like, for the mage recommendation, I always say Eva. I think Eva is very
That was a
straightforward.
good job.
This way.
Yeah, this guy dies if he...
Teach them a
Doing.
lesson. This way.
A subject has been terminated. A new area has been restricted. 10 survivors
shit.
remain. A subject has been terminated.
I'll be honest. Oh,
Teach them a lesson.
that guy messed up.
This way.
Cancel me out.
No problem.
Wilson.
Get
Oh,
Teach them a lesson.
So this is what people don't like about Sissela. Oh, I missed. I'm playing really bad at this game.
Everyone is
Kinda rough,
sleeping
my bad.
peacefully. This way.
Is that you kind of can't die on this build. Once I get my vampiric stacks up, and I can kind of just space everyone. What were we even talking about again? Ava,
Time
Ava for beginners.
easy to play? Oh yeah, Ava's really easy and really good for beginners. That's
teach
she's got a
them
really simple
lesson.
kit, high
I
damage.
am a bit slow.
Don't go
So
for me,
let's get out of here ASAP.
dude. What are you? Stop.
This way. Wilson, I'll make you feel the pain.
Subject has been terminated.
He didn't want you to teleport there. It was worth risking
Yeah,
his
I
life
don't
for it, I
know.
guess.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That is a very convenient segue. When is the best time to use your ultimate with
Go
Sissela?
somewhere else.
Because that's a tough question. That's a really
It is a really,
important
it is a really tough question. You have to know, you have to be pretty comfortable with understanding your current, I guess, defense, like tankiness, how much damage your opponents can deal, and their cooldowns, right? You need to know that, okay, they can't just burst me when I'm ulting, or they can't stun me, or they can't like do any
Looks like
punishing
it
thing.
hurt a lot.
That's only if you want to use it mid-fight, right?
This way.
They recently changed to sell it, so our ultimate is on a super low cooldown. It's like barely over a minute right now. right?
That is pretty short.
So a lot of the times you can just use your ult at the beginning of the fight. I think that's what they want it to be used for, or like an execution. It's really a thing that you just need to play a lot of Sissela to kind of understand. But I guess I want to say,
exciting.
you learn your opponent's cooldowns, learn when they can't really punish you as much for it,
There's something we can use.
or just use it at the beginning of a fight if you think
subject has been
opponents are going to start walking into you, right?
This way.
And you want to do it.
Would you say, I don't know if you mentioned this and I missed it, would you say having your W up is a relevant factor in when you're ulting?
It is really relevant, especially since, I forget, you're right, I did forget to mention that. Ever since they changed it so that your ult damage is not amplified by the missing HP that it would deal to you, doubling your ult is like very effective.
It must have
Another useful thing with ult, I can just show you right now, is that it procs Vampiric on each person in your zone that you hit. So I know that right now no one's in pond.
Wait,
so
that's super spicy.
Yeah, I can tell that there's no one in pond. Someone unfortunately took that trade.
That's really interesting. I didn't even think of that. That's awesome.
I don't know if it's intended to get a stack for each person you hit, but it currently right now
That's like, that is enormous brain. Holy cow.
So, yeah, as you can see, maybe people don't like Sissela. Oh, well, that was ambitious. That was
I was
ambitious.
gonna go with questionable, but you know, that was...
Yeah, so I just
It's quiet
want to be...
around
No,
here.
he's just going there. That was a bad pull. I haven't played Sissela. I'm just playing... Whatever. Light shields.
Teach them a lesson.
So I have a couple of more questions. Actually, kind of a huge number of questions that I want to get through.
Go for it.
Very real question. Anot, why does Lennox lose to the worst iterations of the characters of the game, like Aya? Do you think she needs like 50 buffs, or we're gonna skip that one?
What was
You
it?
We can skip that
Lennox
one.
players. You,
Whatever.
no, but for real, next question is, hi Anot, can you explain how skill amp works with Eva's ult? I've been told it's either massively reduced or it doesn't scale with amp at all. Thank you.
If we're talking about flat amp or percent amp,
Cover them
it's
both.
a bit... Okay, so percent amp. So first of all, let's just talk about Eva ult works. So it's obviously a laser beam that does a lot of damage in short intervals, but something you might not know is that after 3 ticks of your ult, you do a damage proc, a flat damage proc, and it's like, you know, 200 something damage. Right.
Or Lennox.
Yeah.
Someone is
F tier
consecutively
That's gonna be a
Real.
couple more questions in just a sec.
So Eva's ult does 3 ticks of true damage, and then it does 1 tick of actual like damage. That's not true. And on that damage tick, that's not the true damage, is where all your extra skill damage and your percent amp gets applied to. If I have that correctly. So, I mean, it's like pretty decent on her ult. It's not like anything too special, but it applies on that burst of damage proc.
So
That makes sense.
basically, just to simplify it for people, do you feel like percent amp or flat amp is more valuable for the
Creepy
ultimate?
screeching metal.
I've never even
Or
tested
have you
it.
not
but
ran the numbers?
I haven't ran the numbers, but I assume they wouldn't make that. They honestly, it really depends on what your opponent's wearing. If you get what I'm saying. Because if your opponent just has high defense, ESD or extra skill damage is super powerful, just because you're doing a lot more true damage, right, to them in that sense. But if your opponent's on lower HP and like lower defense and like higher HP, then the percent amp is going to be doing more. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's like. Oh, I should be finding a razor. Do you get what I'm saying with that? It
Yeah.
really. Oh, wait, there's only one other person alive. It really cares about what your opponent's running, but in general, you don't usually. I want to say like have a big choice to make about them. A lot of the times, because items just like have other stats on them that you care more about. Like Holy Orders versus Cabana, right? I mean, I want to say like I was talking about this thing earlier. Cabana's usually better unless you have a super high defense stat. In which case you could go Holy Orders. Or ESD is usually on Scotty, Glacial Shoes, and your accessory slot. And I mean, you kind of know when you want to upgrade those or when they can be upgraded. So I'm not going to keep on a drop near when I can have a Scotty, right?
Makes sense. Totally.
Stuff like that. So I don't really think it matters too much. I don't know.
What was it like
we
when
are
it
actually
was
so many
crowded here?
questions. I appreciate you all sending in these questions. This is really... Honestly, these are some fun questions I wouldn't even think about. How to fight against a Camilo as Eva? How do you feel about the Camilo
Okay,
matchup?
so
This way.
I want to like give advice to it, but I can't confidently say in good faith that I've played the matchup
The other.
more
So
than
many
like
times.
running into Gunner twice or something in a game, or like Kaz cross, or like yeah. I don't know.
This way.
I haven't played the matchup a lot. I don't really know how you're supposed to play it.
So-
All I know is that Camilo's squishy. He has a lot of movement, so you can't be probably abusing. You can't expect to just like a free get out of jail card
Yeah,
like you can on some matchups.
so keep your spacing probably.
Keep your spacing. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just keep proper spacing.
Vision
You'll
and
be fine.
spacing.
Teach them a lesson.
Vision and spacing. That's the bread and butter of Eva. Vision and spacing. Vision and spacing.
Okay, so I've got two
This way.
duo/squad related questions I want to get through real quick. How does the build change for Eva in duos and squads, or does it
I had
change?
hoped there would be people here.
Okay, so there's actually
Teach them a
okay, so a lot of the time I think it depends on if you really want to focus on meeting up with your partner super early. But you can definitely substitute a lot of items. For example, I have a 3-zone build for duos and squads, which goes archery, alley, into beach. And it's the build that actually Gunnar got Tenha to run in the Lemonade tournament or series. Because he wanted to get closer. I mean, 4-zone builds are always fine. If you want to fight tree with an Eva build and your teammates want to fight tree, it's kind of it. I think that more matters what your teammates want to run, and sense more than what like you want to run. Because you two have to work to a compromise if you want to
Totally,
make a synergy like that.
totally. It's definitely team dependent. Like if your teammates say like, hey, I could meet in alley, archery, or beach, you try to just
I had
adjust and
hoped there
then
would
see
be
if you can
people
meet there.
here.
So it's definitely a case by case thing.
Forgot about that.
What will it be?
Additionally, what are your dream teammates for duos and squads for Sissela and Eva?
This way.
Okay. For Eva, I think obviously 11 is like super strong.
I would agree with that.
I think mostly any character that can CC. I think Nikki's also really strong.
Yeah, for sure.
Nikki. Actually, I played with RJ Ratjammer a bit when he was on Kathy in our ranked games at the end of the season. It was actually a really strong synergy because he would hit like a really good sutra, and I could just unleash my whole combo onto them.
That seems like a pretty solid combo, honestly.
It was pretty solid, yeah. I think mostly any frontline character. She doesn't really synergize with other characters who have like shorter range than her, I guess.
People here.
Like other mages.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend playing her with like Sissela or
I'm able to do
Hedgen
great
probably
things, too.
optimally, or like Sylvia, or really mostly frontliners who can peel
Where
and
are
then
the others?
and engage too.
Yeah, I'd say like the standard team mode frontliners
Just
right
the
now.
standard
It's like
team mode, yeah,
11
standard
and
team mode
Nikki,
guys.
probably the two main
11
ones.
I think Lennox is actually really strong too.
I could see that too. Yeah, it actually seems like a really solid combo.
That's what I think Superior and Deus ran in some games.
Mm.
It is already final zone. She's
I
up
had
here.
hoped there would be people here.
Yeah, you gotta play the game.
Oh no. Well, that might be it right there. There you go. 3 in a row, dude.
Yes.
Running the gauntlet.
I wish I could go more in depth on how to play Sissela, because I think she's actually one of the hardest characters to like pick up initially as a player. But I don't think we have the time for that.
I mean,
Unfortunately.
I'll be honest with you. This thing goes as long as we decide
Oh.
we want it to go. So if you want to speak your mind, speak your mind.
No. It's more of a thing I just have to show, I guess. It's just
You could always.
I don't
have
know.
the practice mode.
When I first started playing Sissela, I want to say I lost like my first 50 games, and I did not have fun. But I really loved the character. I don't know if you know this, scaz, but you were the first person who actually inspired me to play Sissela.
I'm flattered.
I saw one of your videos a long time ago, and like it was like a hotel blazing.
Not the
dress.
blazing dress, dude. That was that was viable for like literally half a patch.
Yeah, and I started
And then it
playing
was
that 2 patches after I saw the
that.
video.
Yeah, it was so bad after that. Like immediately nerfed, and it wasn't like it got nerfed. It was like stuff got nerfed around it, And it was just like,
Yeah.
that thing is not viable, but the video still kept getting views. I was losing. I was like, guys, please don't play this build. It's not, it doesn't work anymore. Anyway, but yeah, like that was, so that was the moment where you're like, Sissela
Yeah, that was the
cool?
moment I really like fell in Sissela. I was like, wow, this character looks cool. I like Karth Assault and like a battle royale. I thought that was a really
Yeah.
interesting way to implement. Obviously, it's no longer the annoyance. Like this, it used to be like you press Alt and all your other Sisselas in the lobby like
Would hear
pick up the phone. Yeah, just press it too. So it's just some little stuff I want to talk about Sissela real quick, which I feel like, I mean, I'm sure if you watch Sissela or you play her, you probably know, but I just want to show some little tricks. So
Yeah, shout out to all the Sisselas out there. I love you.
Yeah,
you guys are wonderful.
This got a level 20. So one thing I didn't know until honestly like a couple months into playing Sissela, because I've never seen anyone do it, which is like the simple caltrops during your E kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't even know you could do that. Ever since they made caltrops smoother, though, you can still do it. Another thing is that you can E pull someone, and then caltrops too, and then you can get a bubble. And another interesting mechanic with Sissela is that you can also use your E, this is really funny in team mode to like doing to like pull people over walls and stuff.
Yeah,
you can use
yoinking.
this, like,
People don't know that yoinking is like still in the game. Like it got
It's
taken out
still-
at one point,
it's really-
and it just like found its way back in at one point, and people don't really know.
it's still really good. I think that I don't see enough people use it. I see like obviously like
It's pretty nerfed though.
like
Anywhere.
yeah,
It
but you
like
can still get it really far.
if you max range it like lets go, right?
You also need to have a good range E, because if I'm super close for my E, I'll just get the stun off before I can like. Okay, that was a bad example.
That's the zero ping advantage right there.
Yeah. Zero. What else is there? You can also bubble into your E.
Oh,
Listen, I need you.
Okay, well, it's stuck. You can bubble into an E thing, but it's the interesting thing about this is what after you reactivate W, your E goes on a little internal cooldown. You can't press it, so you have to wait a second. So I know I think a verse used to think it was a true combo, and you'd always like say what no one in NA is using this, but it's not actually a true combo. What else is there?
how relevant would you say? Because this is something that when I was playing Sissela, the thing I always noticed was
Anywhere.
new Sisselas never eat off of body. How important would you say that is? Just raw E's.
Oh, it's so relevant. It is the only.
Yeah,
I will say, when I first started playing Sissela, I could not hit an E. So the best way to do it is just like any melee character comes walking at you, like you can just guarantee the E, caltrops, Q, auto, pedal torrent, and they die. It's yeah. I don't know if it should be removed.
Shout out Peltor, you
But
sucked. I hated you.
Yeah, it's just inherently toxic for all melee characters when they just want to try to approach you, and you can just E. And they can't do anything about it. It's pretty unfair, but I don't know. Another thing is that with your, I didn't know this either, because it wasn't really written when I first started playing in the ability passive, but after using your ult, your passive agony damage is increased.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite things to do when people say like, hey, what's something I don't know about Sissela? I'm like, you should read her passive, because there's so much on that thing that you don't
There's a
even
lot,
know is on there. Yeah, so the extra damage on agony or whatever because of so explain that again real quick. What is that?
So after you ult,
This is real pretty.
once it hits, you'll see, I think it's like this little, I don't know if it's
the
this little
thing.
bar
Yeah,
up here.
it's the little thing
the
above
the little thing above your head.
Yeah, the little-
That indicating that your passive, which gives you extra percent amp, the lower HP you are, is doubled, and it does double damage. And they recently buffed it, so it lasts, I think, for 6 seconds now.
Please no.
So it's something that you really want to. That's why a lot of Sisselas like to use your ult at the beginning of the fight, even though it does less damage. Your passive will be amplified.
Yeah, a lot of
So-
people do not know that is an aspect of her
It's
passive.
a really, I don't know. It wasn't written down for like months.
It
Also, you
it's just like hard to notice. Like I mean,
Yeah.
people think Sissela passive, they think the heal, and then the next layer is they think it's the amp,
the damn it, they just say.
and then they don't know about the ult thing. But yeah, so it's interesting.
What else is?
Someone has a Sissela question.
Okay.
That is a very, I don't know, this is an interesting question. does Sissela feel like she is punished harder for... Sorry, does Sissela feel like she is punished harder for making mistakes than other characters? I find her difficult if I don't play perfectly. Wow, that is a long-range poll.
Yeah, I just felt like...
I didn't even know that one.
It's kind of, yeah, I think when she was a lot stronger, you could get away with a lot more mistakes, maybe because of your passive being just more health regen. But right now, if you don't W the right ability, or if you miss E, you can find yourself really like just getting one shot. And I mean, the game is pretty unforgiving, I want to say right now. Low HP, high damage augments. You don't have much room for mistakes. Thankfully though, if you go 45% CDR,
yes.
Well, it kind of covers for it.
I will definitely agree that Sissela with high CDR has always been the most comfortable Sissela I've ever played, because
it is.
you don't get punished nearly as much for a missed E or a badly timed W. Yeah, I think that's an interesting question, because Sissela is often considered one of the least punished characters for making mistakes. People say like, oh, she can just do whatever because
she just bubbles. She just bubbles me.
Yeah, but it is true. Like if you miss an E,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I have to hit the bubble. I mean, I have to like use it on something. Otherwise, like you're just gonna be standing right next to me still, and like, oh no, you still have your full like ability up or something. I just die. Or if I miss the E, oh no, I have no like. I literally can't use like half my kit, you know, because I'm not gonna W you. I can't. I don't know.
She definitely has. She definitely can get punished in some ways, but she is fairly safe for other reasons.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, another thing people have to pay more attention to is their actual like Wilson placement in mid fight.
That's true.
It's something that's it's pretty hard to just like micromanage, and you always have to like be consciously aware of where he is, and that a lot of the times it's actually optimal to pick him up with your W so you can get a shorter Q off. So like if someone's like over here, right, and then they run over here and they're running this way, I can W and then go for another Q, right? And it's better than me just like walking and like just shooting like a long range Q for like this, you know?
Right.
So that's something I think people can learn. I think, yeah, I just love Sissela. I think Sissela is my favorite character in this game.
It's a good choice.
Even though I still love Eva, Sissela is just so fun.
I mean, I've said forever, Sissela has like insane skill expression. I think she's really cool.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think right now you have to play Shuriken. Throw's just in a really bad spot if you want to pick up Sissela.
So
like, I don't know if there's much more.
You mind if I rapid fire just a few more questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, quick question. Q versus passive max. I assume this is a Sissela question. I assume this is a Sissela question.
I had hoped there would be people here.
On this build, you're supposed to max passive, and on throw, you're supposed to max passive. Mostly because of just the regen with the Nightingale. It's just super synergistic. So, I think it's... But if on the Mystic J Charm build that wants to go Archery School, Hotel, Beach, it's better to max Q.
Okay.
So I want to say, if you had to pick one, it's going to be Q, passive, E, WR whenever you can. Actually, I do want to bring this up. Some Sisselas don't like putting a single point into their ult, or only just 1 point.
Interesting.
I know that the EU throw Sissela player doesn't put a single point into his ult for most of the game.
Where are the others?
What
just
kind
because
of
it just feels like...
Is he running like crit or?
No, it's marble. It's marble.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just because he thinks it doesn't do enough. I'm not exactly sure. But if I had to pick one, ever since they nerfed the passive, it is like it feels a lot worse to put points into. I'm pretty sure that the Korean players like to go actually QE passive WR whenever you can.
Quiet around here.
You know?
Yeah.
But I still like Q passive E.
Okay,
that's just my...
One more quick question. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna do two. Just do really fast though.
Okay.
In the Sissela match, Anot didn't pick up cameras when they were available. Is this because the vision that Wilson provides, or was there another reason?
I was just focused on answering questions. I'll be honest.
Makes sense.
Normally, I was just kind of focused on answering the questions and trying to also do gameplay.
Yeah, but cameras are important no matter what.
Cameras are, yeah, if you find a camera in the box, just pick it up if you have inventory room. Vision is super strong. Sissela does, yeah, you were right, Sissela does have like the easiest brush clear and like just vision check in the whole game. So that's super nice. Especially in this recent kind of high damage meta. You can play a lot safer.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you can always use your Q to like get vision of a spot, and then if you have a ward, place it there. I guess I should have been picking it.
And one final question: what is the best way to kill a Wiccaline as Sissela?
Let me see if I can do this real quick. It's really just like spacing, I guess, and it depends on like the area you're in.
Are you willing to commit caltrops?
Yes, all the time. Just for the burst though. Only if I can burst it with caltrops.
Right.
Not if I won't, like, just for like the first part. Yeah. You should. I wonder if I can even do it. Oh, I'm like level 20.
I shouldn't scribble.
I think you can do it.
So a lot of it is just spacing, using auto, and when she gets right on top of you after she uses her dash, that's when you want to use your pull. And then you just keep spacing.
You're on infinite health.
Oh, I
right
have
now.
the health thing on.
Yeah, I was like, dang, you're not taking any damage. That's crazy.
I don't know if you can see this either, but the quench is doing a lot.
Yeah, totally.
I don't really know how to explain wick takes. I think there's a lot of ways to optimize them on characters. But on Sissela, I just like doing it after the dash, and then you go for the pull. And then if you want to, you can caltrops here. If you like just like going for pure speed.
I was gonna say, do you just save caltrops generally for the execute, or do you just for the secure?
Just for the I usually just use it for the secure if I think someone's gonna be there. But you can just start with it for this like the instant damage because it's just.
Do you even go for wick all that often, or do you feel like you're too vulnerable for the third party?
So on Eva and Sissela, you should go for wick every single game that you can. It is insanely powerful on these long-range mages who can proc wick from such a distance and care so much about their items. I think if you have the opportunity, you should always be looking to set up in the wick area and go for the fight.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I think that's just about covered it. We hit almost all of the questions. There's a few that we couldn't quite get to, but I think that's gonna be it. Anot, how do you feel? How do you feel you did?
I wish my Sissela game went a little bit.
You won it.
I know. I mean, I'm feeling good, scaz.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But a little bit. You could have gotten 10 kills instead of 5. Yeah, it's true.
I could have got 6 kills for that.
That's true.
6 synergy.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on. Honestly, like that was a great time. Learned a lot about Eva and Sissela.
Can I give a quick shout out?
I was gonna say, would you like to do any plugs, shout outs, anything before
we... I have, so the one main plug I actually want to give is to the character Discord. I don't know if you heard of the scaz.
I have heard of it, yeah.
But it's the character hub server Discord hosted by Brandong. And it's just a massive collection of builds, high level players, and just all sorts of dissection about the characters, you know? So I'm the Sissela Eva rep. There's more, but I'm one of them. And if you're just looking to, if you're a new player and you're not sure what kind of builds your characters want to run, join this Discord, and there's like 5 like example builds made by the top level players of the character with like little guides and tips on how to play them. If you're like kind of a newer player or like kind of an intermediate and already like are feeling comfortable on a character and on a route, you can ask another high level player for tips, matchups, augments, and all that stuff. And if you're feeling like you're a strong player and like of your champion, you can even contribute and help out other players. I'm not sure how I can get like the Discord link shown, but it's discord.gg/test subjects. Discord.gg/test subjects. Join that. It's really educational, really helpful, and the more people that join it, the better it gets, just for everyone in the community.
If someone DMs it to me, I will post it in chat, but I don't have.
Okay.
I don't have the link on hand. But yeah, that's a great resource. Totally.
There's something recently made, and I think it's soon to be sponsored. Not officially, but I guess like they got ASAP in there, and I think once Brandong tries to like get everything fully set up, they're going to try to get it advertised and pinned on the main cord.
Yeah, it's definitely a really solid.
Really helpful. I recommend everyone to join it.
Join today. Okay, it's been posted in chat, so cool. You can check that out.
Yeah, real nice.
All right. Yeah, any shout outs, any plugs? Do you stream social media, anything like that?
I was thinking about streaming soon. I don't really have any socials, but maybe one day. I've been kind of wanting to. I was thinking season 4 I would start. I know that there's a Swifty guy that's been asking me to stream. Other than that, I guess shout out to my name, Anot. Shout out, big fan. I guess that's about it.
Okay.
Really
well, it was a pleasure. Honestly, I actually had so much fun. Maybe because we're talking about characters that I like. But you know, it was a great time, and yeah, you nailed it, man. All right, that is gonna be it for both Anot and myself. Do you wanna do a quick sign off?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on tonight, scaz. I really do appreciate you picking me to showcase my characters. Really helpful, and I hope I help some new players out or some experience or whatever.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, and thank you all for joining us. We hope to do this more in the future, so keep your eyes out. Have a wonderful evening.